Have you ever felt that sinking moment when the restaurant check arrives and suddenly the fun night out turns into regret?
What if I told you Americans now spend more on eating out than on groceries, and delivery apps alone drain over $1,500 a year from the average wallet?
Tonight, we'll uncover those leaks together and reveal strategies to save thousands without giving up dining out. Let's get started.
We all know that feeling, right? You've had a great meal out, good company, nice vibe, and then the check arrives. Oof! Suddenly that nice feeling just kind of evaporates. And you're looking at this number wondering how dinner turned into, well, that. It feels like there's this massive hidden leak in our finances somewhere, and tonight, we're going to find it.
Oh, it's definitely more than just a leak. It's a fundamental change in how we eat, actually. We've been looking at the spending data, and it's pretty striking. Since around 2020, what we spend on food away from home, restaurants, takeout, FAFH, it's actually higher now than what we spend on groceries, food at home.
Wait, higher? For real?
Yeah. FAF.
Subscribe, ring the bell, and drop your favorite recipe below.
FH now makes up a record 58.5% of all the money spent on food in the U.S. That's as of 2024.
Wow, okay, so more than half our food budget is going to restaurants and apps and stuff. And what does that look like for, say, the average family?
Well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics data from 2022 shows the average U.S. household spends about $3,655 a year eating out.
$3,500.
Okay, but here's where it gets really specific. We drilled down into where that money's going. And you know that delivery app habit? That convenience?
Yeah.
Americans are spending, on average, over $1,566 per year just on food delivery apps.
$1,500 just for delivery convenience. Wow, that's like a vacation fund just disappearing into thin air.
Exactly. It's a guaranteed annual spend purely for convenience.
Okay, so clearly we need a plan. Our mission today, for you listening, is to move past those vague save money tips. We're diving deep into real data-driven strategies. We're talking psychological defenses, tactical hacks, stuff you can actually use. The goal, save potentially thousands this year without, having to give up eating out entirely. Let's unpack this thing.
Right. And to save money, you first have to get why we spend it in the first place, often when we know we shouldn't, right? It's way deeper than just being hungry. For a lot of people, especially, say, millennials and Gen Z, eating out is really about the social side. It's the experience.
Yeah, I totally get that. You're paying for the atmosphere, not having to do dishes.
Right.
The whole experience. But is that vibe worth the 40-50% markup you sometimes see? How do restaurants get us okay with those prices even before we order?
Oh, they are masters at this. It's called menu engineering, and it starts subtle. Little tricks like taking the dollar signs off the prices on the menu.
Oh, yeah. I've noticed that. Why do they do that?
Because studies show that
Smash that subscribe, ring the bell, and stick around. Check out Jay's. More's coming.
seeing the actual symbol, it triggers the pain point in your brain associated with spending money. Remove the symbol, and the number just feels, well, less like actual money leaving your wallet, more like just a number.
Huh. Sneaky. And what about the descriptions? Everything sounds so fancy. It's never just crab cakes.
Exactly. It's handcrafted Maryland-style jumbo lump crab cakes with a lemon dill aioli. That flowery language, it bumps up the perceived value, makes you feel like you're getting something really special, distracting from the actual cost. But the real heavyweight tactic, that's decoy pricing. This one's fascinating.
Decoy pricing. Okay, what's that?
They deliberately put something outrageously expensive on the menu. Think like a $115 Wagyu steak special. They don't actually expect to sell many of those.
So that crazy expensive thing is the decoy.
Precisely. Its job is to make everything else look reasonable, even cheap by comparison. Suddenly, that $45 filet mignon next to it seems like a total bargain. Maybe even the, quote, responsible choice. It anchors your perception way high.
Wow. Okay, so they're playing mind games before you even order. But sometimes the spending isn't planned at all, right? It's emotional. This is where it gets really interesting. You hear about stuff like doom spending.
Oh, it's a huge factor. We're seeing data, like 72% of Americans admit they spend it impulsively because they're stressed or anxious about the future, the economy, the world, whatever. And guess where most of that impulse money goes? 82% of those people. It's food.
Why food?
Because it's immediate comfort. It's a quick dopamine hit. It gives you this fleeting sense of control when maybe everything else feels out of control.
And that one little emotional buy, right? Like grabbing a $7 coffee and pastry because you had a bad morning.
Yeah.
That can just derail everything.
Absolutely. That's the classic what the hell effect. It's a real psychological thing. You break one tiny rule in your budget, and your brain goes, screw it. The budget's blown anyway. Might as well go all in. So the $7 treat suddenly justifies the $60 pizza delivery later that night.
Right. And that emotional trigger often hits when we're stressed and tired, which is exactly when reaching for that delivery app feels easiest, almost necessary. But that convenience, as we said, comes with that receipt shock, the fees. Let's talk about the fees.
Yeah, the fees are where it really bites you. When you actually look at the breakdown on a delivery app receipt, you're often paying 30, sometimes even 50% over the menu price of the food itself.
50%? How?
Well, you've got the delivery fee, right? That's usually what? $2 to $7, sometimes more, depending on distance or demand. Then there's the service fee. That's a sneaky one. Often 10 to 15% of your subtotal.
Before tax, yeah.
Real quick, hit subscribe, bell on, and let me know what you think.
Before tax. Then you add the actual tax.
Yeah.
And then you have the tipping expectation, which, is pretty much standard now at 15 to 20%, sometimes more, depending on the app's suggestions.
It just keeps adding up. It's a cumulative killer. I've seen friends get excited about a 10% off coupon. Only to have the service fee completely wipe out that saving, and then some.
Sure.
It feels kind of deceptive sometimes. Like, the lack of planning is what they count on.
That is exactly it. These costs are only a shock if you haven't factored them in. Lack of planning is the enemy here. The number one defense against those app fees. It's planning ahead.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, the psychological traps, the fee structure. Let's pivot. Let's talk action plan. We need concrete tactics, high-value stuff. Let's start with dining in a restaurant. What's our battle plan there?
Okay, rule 1, timing. Exploit the restaurant's slow periods. Lunch specials are almost always cheaper than the dinner menu for very similar food. Happy hour, early bird specials, look for those. They exist for a reason. And if you've got kids, do your homework. Search for Kids Eat Free Nights, usual Monday, Tuesday, saves a bundle.
Good one. Okay, next target, drinks. That seems like a huge profit center for them.
Oh, absolutely enormous.
Yeah.
This is strategic point number 1 for easy savings. Beverages, especially booze and fancy coffees, can be marked up 300, even 400%. It's staggering.
300 to 400%.
Yep. So make a conscious choice. Stick to water, maybe one coffee or tea. Avoid the sodas, the beers, the cocktails. Just doing that, you can instantly slash like 15 to 20% off your total bill. Easiest save there is, seriously.
Okay, stick of water. Got it.
Yeah.
Now, the portion sizes in the U.S., they're often massive, right? Enough for 2 people, which means we overspend and waste food. Counter strategy.
Simple. Share. Don't be afraid to share an entree. Or maybe order a couple of appetizers instead of 2 main courses. You save money, you probably eat a more reasonable amount, and critically, if you paid for it, don't leave it. Always, always ask for the doggy bag, those leftovers. That's gold. It's basically a free meal already prepped for tomorrow's lunch. You just double the value of what you paid for.
Love it. Leftovers are gold. Okay, that brings us back to the apps, that $1,500 leak we talked about.
Yeah.
How do we use the tech, get the convenience, but defang that fee structure?
All right. The single biggest, most effective weapon against receipt shock is this. Choose self-pickup whenever you possibly can. Ditch the delivery.
Just go get it yourself.
Just go get it. Yeah, it might mean a 5-10 minute drive, but doing that, you instantly wipe out the delivery fee. You usually wipe out that big service fee too. Plus, a lot of apps are now offering pickup-specific discounts to encourage it, so you might even save more than just the fees.
Okay, pickup is king. What about those subscription services? Dash Pass, Uber One. They promise no delivery fees, right? Are they worth it?
Maybe, but you have to do the math rigorously. That's the key. Calculate your actual ordering frequency. If you subscribe, say, for $10 a month, but you only order twice, you're essentially paying an extra $5 per order just for the privilege. If you're ordering multiple times a week, okay, maybe the math works out. But for infrequent users, like those folks who cancel because they ordered 3 times last year, it's definitely not worth it. You got to run your own numbers.
Makes sense. Calculate the ROI. So, we've avoided fees. What about actively getting money back? Stacking rewards.
Yes. Smart Money Management 101. You should absolutely be stacking. First, use the restaurant's own loyalty program. Almost every chain has one now. Free food, discounts, birthday treats, whatever. Sign up. Second, layer that with a credit card that gives you specific cash back on dining. Lots of cards offer 3%, 4%, even 5% back on restaurant and dining purchases. Since you're spending the money anyway, why not guarantee a slice comes right back to you? It's free money.
Okay, loyalty programs plus dining rewards cards. Got it. So we've got the hacks, the tactics. Now let's talk long game, the behavioral stuff. Because a hack only works if you stick with it, right? What's the foundational shift we need?
The foundation has to be a budgetary anchor, a hard line. Most financial experts recommend spending no more than, say, 6% of your net income, your take-home pay, on dining out. All in.
6%. Okay, that's a concrete number.
It's a critical number. It keeps your eating out habits proportional to your actual financial situation. And to make sure you hit that number, you need accountability, which means tracking.
Measuring it.
Exactly. You have to measure the spending, use a budgeting app, Mint, YNAB, whatever works for you. Use it consistently. The old saying is true. You can't manage what you don't measure. You need to see exactly where the money's going to plug that leak.
Yeah.
And crucially, for fighting that doom spending we talked about, you need a backup plan, a preemptive strike.
The if-then rule.
Right? Yes. This is powerful. You pre-decide how you'll handle the trigger before it happens. Like, if I feel super stressed and exhausted after work, then I will heat up that quick frozen meal I prepped on Sunday instead of opening the delivery app.
Yeah.
You make the decision when you're rational, not when you're stressed and vulnerable. It short-circuits the impulse.
That's smart. Proactive defense. And we mentioned leftovers are gold. But you can do more than just reheat, right? Get creative.
Absolutely. This is where you double down on value and cut food waste. Don't just microwave yesterday's dinner, transform it. Leftover roast chicken makes awesome chicken salad sandwiches for lunch. Or shred it for tacos later in the week. Got some leftover pasta, whisk up some eggs, add some cheese, maybe some veggies. Boom, quick frittata for breakfast or lunch. It saves money and you're throwing less food away. Win-win.
Definitely. Now, we do need to add a bit of nuance here. We've been saying always do pickup, but that advice doesn't work for everyone, does it?
That's a really important point, yeah. For some people, delivery isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Think about seniors, people with disabilities, maybe someone living in a downtown area where parking is impossible or super expensive. For them, delivery is a necessary convenience cost. So the advice isn't never get delivery, it's understand the costs, and if it's necessary for you, factor those fees into your overall 6% dining budget. Don't try to pretend they don't exist.
Right. Budget for the reality. And, okay, the elephant in the room, tipping.
Yeah.
It's a big chunk of the cost, and there's so much debate about it right now.
Yeah, tipping is definitely complex. But here's the impartial take. Tips are a really significant part of how service workers earn their living in the U.S. The industry standard for decent service is still around 18% to 20%. Sometimes the apps nudge you higher, but that's the baseline. Most of the current controversy seems focused on the fees, the service fees, the delivery fees that go to the company, not necessarily on the tip that goes to the worker. So when you're budgeting that 6%, you absolutely need to factor in an 18-20% tip for service received. It's part of the expected cost of dining out or getting delivery in the States.
Okay, factor in the tip. Let's wrap this up with some proof. Show the real impact. Let's talk about John's family, the example you mentioned.
Right, John's family. Pretty typical story. They were relying heavily on delivery apps maybe 3-4 times a week. Easy habit to fall into. With all the fees and tips, each order was easily costing them, say, $50 to $70.
Okay, so do the math. 3 times a week at $60 is $180. 4 times is $240 per week.
Exactly. So monthly, they were spending a minimum of $800, sometimes over $1,100 just on food delivery.
Wow. Okay, so what changed? What did they do?
They implemented these fixes we've talked about, the big one, behavioral change. They committed to planning and cooking meals 5 nights a week. Huge shift. Then they set a strict budget for eating out. $200 a month, max. And crucially, for the 1 or 2 times a week they did order out within that budget. Always pick up. No delivery fees.
Okay. So they went from maybe $800 to $1,100 a month down to $200, maybe $250 with careful planning and pickup. The savings per year must be huge.
Massive. By making those changes, planning meals, budgeting, and cutting the delivery fees, John's family saved somewhere between $7,200 and $9,600 a year.
$7,200 to almost $10,000
Per year. Yeah. That's not just tweaking the budget. That's life-changing money. Money for debt, for saving, for investing, just by being intentional about eating out.
That really drives it home. The takeaway here isn't about total deprivation. It's not never eat out again. It's about being intentional. Spending smarter, understanding the timing, understanding the psychology, and dismantling those fee traps the industry sets up.
Exactly. And speaking of psychology, we talked about 2 big ones today. Decoy pricing, that super expensive item, making everything else look cheap, and doom spending, ordering out because you're stressed. So the question for you listening is, which of those 2 tricks, decoy pricing or doom spending, do you think gets your wallet more often? And why? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah, let us know. And hey, if you found some useful insights in this deep dive today, definitely hit that subscribe button. We got more content coming your way, helping you find the true cost and the true savings in everyday life.